Hello, and welcome back to a very special episode of the Pickle Jar Podcast. So pull up a seat, take a bite, and get ready to dive into that brine for episode 15 of the Pickle Jar Podcast. I'm Ryan Sullivan.
I'm Keaton Ashby.
And our very special guest for today, the Gina Sisbarro of Sisbarro Enterprises. She is with us today because this upcoming weekend, we have The Ghost in the Typewriter premiering. So, Gina, this has been a long-awaited podcast, because you've probably been mentioned on the podcast more than just about anyone else.
Well, I should hope so.
Well, I mean, we started with James as our first guest, and then we went on to Sean, and we had, Jared Graffoni didn't really have anything to do with you, but then we had Taker, so of course, everything has been building up to this moment.
There's been 15 already?
Yeah, 15.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, you need to catch up.
That's really a lot of podcasts.
We've gone
It's going to be a weekend once the show's over. I think I'm just going to set it and just let it rip.
It's going to take you a lot of hours.
Yes, I will need a lot of hours to rest, so that'll be a good way to rest. Tune into the Pickle Jar.
I think after this episode, we're just short of about 24 full hours of content.
Yeah.
We're getting there.
Fantastic.
But, Gina, figured, why don't you kind of introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about what you're all about and why you're here in general, like on the podcast, why we've got you here.
Wow. Okay, this is only like 2 hours, hour and a half, so I'll just have to try to condense this as much as I can. Thank you, first of all, thank you for having me on your podcast. I'm very honored to be here. I've heard so much about it. I've watched a few. Yes, I have.
Oh,
all right.
Here, since you're introducing yourself, almost forgot. Since we're opening up the discussion, you got to open up the jar.
So, do you get to eat them?
If you want to. They're bread and butter pickles, so they're not
found
very
out
good.
they taste poorly.
Ooh.
But the aroma does
pickle.
fall into the room.
As
then
Keaton
I'll have
would say.
pickled breath, so that probably won't be too cool. So we're gonna let it flow.
Let it
open up the discussion.
Yes. Allow it to permeate around.
I can smell it. I do like to smell the pickles.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I'm not pregnant or anything. All right. Okay, so getting back to who I am. Wow, that is a loaded question.
Is it?
Yeah.
It is. So I'm probably going to start by saying I'm the owner and founder of Sisbarro Acting Studio. Yay!
We're a part of it.
Yeah, and here we go. All right, two of my best sitting to the right and to the left. And it's been a dream come true. I'm going to say because I'm not a rule follower. So if anybody that knows me, I really, beating my own drum here. So the dream was to create a studio where I can do whatever I wish to do. I love the plays that are out there. I'm a big fan of so many different playwrights. Who's my favorite?
Ken Ludwig.
There you go. That's my favorite one. Seems to have my same sense of humor.
Yeah.
So we've done a couple
for the
of
most part.
For the most part, more tame though. So what brought me to this is, aside from the dream to direct and create in your own space, part two is that I like to make changes when you, as you know, did your first Spam-A-Lot, is that you're really, for lack of a better word, slave to the script. There's a thing called royalties. There's this thing called you can't change it. I'm not the author. There's lots of rules, but that's kind of boring, so we won't go into that. And I've never been a rule follower, even since high school. I've been a rule breaker, a good rule breaker. I didn't get into trouble.
The more of guidelines than actual rules
that's
type
right,
rule
guidelines.
breaker.
I don't like guidelines.
Yeah.
So
some rules are made to be broken, of course. So
plenty. So with this, it's when you write your own material, and I got two improv kings over here. So the best part is I write it, we start rehearsing, we put it on, and then something funny will happen, and I can actually say, Keaton, that was great, keep that in. Just do what you did. Sometimes it's a trip. Sometimes it's a word, what you did.
It's a gunshot going off.
That's right. What you did on Saturday when you said, give me a helping hand, and just made me laugh. You'll understand what we're talking about when you come to the play. And I'll say...
Link in the description.
Right. That was brilliant. Keep it in. So that's the reason why this studio was created. Not only for that, but for those that work in the studio, all right, that this is going to be their forum to create without all the rules and regulations other than, flush the toilets, take out the trash, clean up after yourself, things like that. That drive me crazy.
Turn the air conditioner
off. Turn the air, lower the air conditioning, make sure the lights are off. But that's
we've been good about it recently.
No, really.
We've been in here 12 times without you even knowing.
Trust me, I know. But I've been pleased, so I haven't said anything. So that's what Sisbarro Acting Studio is. It's that ability to put the best of you and that creative part of you into your programming and into your shows. And it's not the royalty fees. We can afford it. We're not broke. We're not a broke studio. But it's just that if we change that one little word, we won't have the royalty police coming down on us. And sometimes the shows are dated.
Yeah.
Really dated.
Well, because for example, in Neil Simon's Rumors, it's a very popular show with high schools, but there is one F word in it, like near the end, and one part of the things in the royalties, when you have to sign to get the rights to do the play, you have to say that you will not change that word. It's like you can't take it out. So some people are real sticklers for that. So it's a lot nicer when we decide, that's
we
not.
don't like it.
It's like we don't like that. Let's take it out. It's a lot better.
Somebody like Wesley said, Gina, that didn't exist back in 1921. I could say, whoa, really? Take that out. Let's find what we want to say.
It's like, the Ritz-Carlton wasn't built yet.
Until he couldn't pronounce something, then that word did exist in the play. What was that? He couldn't
Piece of scungili.
Yeah, he could pronounce scungili, but he had trouble with bacala. So all of a sudden he said scungili was good. I think it was there in the 20s. But that's what makes this so special, because you also have to think some of your best plays, some of my favorite plays were written in the 60s and 70s. And, this times have changed. And that's all I'm going to say on that topic. Times have changed. So what was considered acceptable back in those days definitely is not currently.
There's a lot of people violating Rule 1 in those old plays.
Absolutely. And
Our Rule 1,
and I'm going to admittedly for those theaters that did hire me, I would change a word or two because I just felt it was inappropriate, and I'm not here to insult anyone. It happened. All right, but I'm proud that I didn't have my actors go down that road. Neither did our theater go down that road. So rather than cause that controversy with other theaters, and trust me, I love them all, and it was a pleasure to direct under every single one of them. Great shows came out of it, but I just like the idea that let's do what we need to do. Let's make this politically correct, socially acceptable, and have a lot of fun with it.
Good.
We've done, the wall of fame is in the studio. You don't see it, and we're about to put on the other one, which is Ghost in the Typewriter. And that was inspired by a lot of different things. As you know, all the entertainment venues closed down. We all three of us were in heavy rehearsal with Misfit Jim Rats.
The play that never happened.
The play that never happened. Gosh, how many were in that one? 18 actors?
Oh, there was a lot of people that were in that one.
There was no place to even take a break. But, in the studio, people are sitting outside down the steps, and Keaton was in the closet.
I later came out of the closet. Not in that way, though.
Nice rainbow on your shirt, Keaton.
Yeah, right.
It says I hate people. Wow.
So
I have a girlfriend. She was on the podcast like 2 episodes ago.
Yeah, I can vouch for that. I've known her since she was in some of our earlier plays. Matter of fact, she was in The Odd Couple.
Yeah. She was one of the Pigeon Sisters.
Before you, so she was a star
before your time.
Before your time.
I know.
So getting back to it was probably 2 weeks before opening, before we were about to open.
Yeah, it was like March 10th. The opening day was like March 23rd or something like that.
I think it was the
18th? Yeah, well, because I know that I officially went into self-quarantine on the 20th.
You weren't even,
but 10th was when the schools shut down. That's when we got that message. Friday, March 10th.
So I don't know if you remembered where we gathered everybody in the
Yeah, I just got back from Disney.
So
like the week before everything shut down.
On the roller coaster. What did you care? You were still riding high from that trip.
Yeah, and I was in the fair.
It was very hard because it was 3 months worth of hard work where I had to sit here and say, well, it was.
Ryan.
It was 3 months of hard work.
Yeah.
But
there was multiple casting going on because some actors were, had a tough work schedule, other actors were in a different play. It was not one of my favorite to direct because it was just hard getting such a hard cast together.
Well,
go ahead.
Also, if the way I see it is there was one big reason why that show wasn't working. So the 3 shows that you had written before Misfit Gym Rats were Men of Rushmore, Battlefield of Brotherhood, and Jersey Fried Tomatoes, all of which were period pieces. All of them took place with Men of Rushmore took while each president was alive, then Battlefield of Brotherhood during the 1860s, and then Jersey Fried Tomatoes in the 1950s, 60s, and off into the 70s as well. But then Misfit Gym Rats was set in modern day. And
Interesting point.
Interesting.
Interesting.
And now
point.
Ghost of the Typewriter,
point.
set in the 20s and the 50s. I think that in this studio, I think one of the most interesting things is to look back on the past and think about it for the future, which looking at the present and thinking about it in the present, I don't know. It's not as interesting to me. And I think that's probably one of the big reasons why Misfits kind of...
we weren't laughing as hard. I think
Yeah.
that's it. We weren't, and you weren't enjoying your characters either. That came right at me like a hurricane. So, and I think there was just a lot of...
The only fun character was Kiki's because she played you.
That's right. What better person to play than me? And she was the best. Kiki, if you're listening, you had it.
She does listen, so...
You had it perfect. You had it down. So we do miss you wherever you are, college.
Well, she's coming to see the show, I think.
Okay. Good. Love to see her.
She commented on the trailer, so she's like, I got to see this one.
Speaking of show, come see the show.
Yeah.
But getting back to that's a real interesting point, and maybe because I am an avid reader, I'm a historian. When people go out of town, they go to amusement parks. I go out of town. I visit old homes, museums, historic sites, ghost tours. So I always delve into the history because to me history it repeats itself.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you look at this past election, if you go down the journals of history, you're going to find the
same exact thing happening every time. It's just
different times. Just different times.
Here, watch this.
I know. It's the nails. So, although Misfits isn't going away, it will premiere with the Marco Island Charter Middle School Theater Club.
Yeah. Which I'm excited to see their take.
Did a lot of rewrites.
Yeah, I know. I saw.
A lot of rewrites.
Well, Jack was telling me that she's like, I have like 4 scripts for Misfits sitting in my room, and I can't use any of them.
No, that's where all those extra went. Jack.
Yeah.
I just wonder where they went. Or we had a whole stack of extras. So with that knowing that we scrapped the show, not entirely, but from what we call the main stage play, because I wasn't feeling it with the cast, not to mention a lot of the cast graduated, moving on, so it would have been very hard to replace the existing characters. And then what hit me full force is nothing's happening. For those that live and work on Marco Island, Christmas Island style is just a big part of our life on this island, with all the events from Santa coming to the shops to the parades, and even though there is a variation of these activities, there's still that absence in the heart for all this, and there's nothing like live. There's nothing like live. That's what
Keaton was talking a lot about that last week.
Yeah. It's just kind of upsetting.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're going to have, you're going to be able to see the floats like a, drive-by floating or something. I don't know. And I'm really thrilled that Christmas Island Style made the effort to give the island something.
Right.
I guess part of the inspiration too is I was stuck in traffic, and it was in the middle of the when the school shut down, and Tommy Barfield had a parade for their kids where all the teachers decorated their car.
Yeah, that was in like April, I think.
Right, and drove through, and at first, pardon me, I thought it was a funeral, and I was like, oh my God, I'm in a funeral procession. I'll never be able to get where I'm going. It was like right at the intersection, and I kept saying, I'm really sorry for that person, but oh my gosh, I could be sitting here 15 minutes. And all of a sudden I realized what it was, because I'm like, why are kids in a funeral holding up signs saying we miss you? I thought, wow, this person had a lot of grandchildren. But then it hit me, all right, that it's the teachers.
Yeah.
And when you were little kids, or when I was a little kid, you used to be like, yay, no school. In Jersey, we used to pray for snow days. Well, I'm looking at these little kids from Tommy Barfield that this was the worst thing for them, not to go to school. They'd rather be in school.
Yeah.
They want to be with their friends, and they love their teachers. So this was so important. I said, we got to get people out there when it's getting, let's make it safe, and let's throw some Christmas magic back on the island. So summertime comes along, and I said, no, we're not going to do Misfits. We're going to do a Christmas story. Now, if you know my husband, Philip, he collects typewriters, Marco office supply, right? So every time we antique, there's a new typewriter, old typewriter that comes into the home.
And most of them are working.
Well, except for the one that somebody, that we have
no
a
idea
second
who that
star.
was.
That the typewriter currently in the play is star number 2.
Was recasted.
Yeah, so it got recasted because of a broken ribbon or something. But,
Yeah.
And I always wanted to do a story where a ghost comes out of this typewriter and tells a love story or something, and
Along those lines.
And I thought, why not make it a Christmas story involving an author? And I'm not saying the author is the loser, which Ryan plays.
He is a loser.
But
He is a loser.
He is a
yeah,
loser.
I guess he's a
He
bit,
is.
he's not.
Positive,
He's not
homosexual.
I'm
extreme.
not Oliver.
No, he's
I
not
just
Oliver.
play Oliver.
Right.
Oliver and I have some things in common.
Some similarities.
It's a little bit, some similarities, not all.
Yeah,
but some.
Keaton could have played. He couldn't have done Oliver.
Right.
No, he couldn't have done it. So
he's not enough.
It's more
of a
like
geek.
Oliver is that love that he's never found, where the ghost is love that was lost. So you put the two of these together, and it's a great combination. And when you hit something, a lot of people say, how do you write this? How do you? And I said, it's just right here, and I just go. Now, a lot of misspelled words and stuff.
A lot of misspelled words.
Because I always say I write 11 o'clock at night. That's why you pay an editor. So these guys
Donald,
are
my editor.
Yeah, these guys are so
get
used
Wesley
to me.
to edit.
I would say you're getting the scrambled egg script because, and I call it that.
This is the uncooked scrambled egg
yeah,
script.
it's really. I mean, it's raw because we don't edit it because you never know what changes are going to come with it.
Well, remember when you sent me the script to print, and it's just like,
I
Gina,
flipped out on
there
you.
are 3,000 mistakes. I did a little
It
spell
wasn't
check.
come on, it wasn't 3,000.
No, I think
maybe 2,500, but
Yeah,
not
I think
3,000.
it was like 2,547 mistakes or something like that.
Some of them are real, little.
Well, some of them were simply because that's how you wanted the characters to say something.
So
it
you
was
have to remember that
misspelled.
too, especially Jersey fried tomato.
Oh,
If you
yeah.
haven't figured out, I'm from Jersey. So when I sent the play to my editor, I was like, you have to understand there is Jersey slang. Do not change the word because that's how we say it. So a lot of times my spelling and the way I talk, all right, are Jersey, and it will come out, but it gets fixed. It gets fixed. But
It's
like
always a work in progress.
It is. And again, that's the theme of the studio. So I honestly think the only people that could direct my plays are, if it goes outside of this studio, they get the polish. If I handed over a script to Ryan or Keaton, they would know how to work it. They would understand it. They'd make the notes, they'd change it, and then they'd come back and say, all right, this is how the play is going out. Boom, edit, done, out, copyrighted.
You know how many years and dates would change if you handed it off to Wesley to do?
I don't have the strength. So
But anyway.
again, that's what makes this studio so unique. So if I wrote something and brought in an outside director like our other theaters do, it wouldn't happen. It just it's going to have to be, Keaton's going to have to step up and say, I got this one, Ryan's got this one, Anthony's got that one. It's going to be, you have to be inside Gina's head. That's why it's probably Sisbarro Acting Studio. It should be What's in My Head Studio. Probably would fit a lot better. And I think if you see me writing at night, and there are times my husband will walk by when I'm writing, and I'm actually sitting there laughing. Yeah. Really hard. And he's like, you think you're funny, don't you? I do! Because...
You think this is funny?
And the reason why is I see, when I write it, I already know who is going to play the character. So I'm writing it, I hear Keaton, or I hear you, or I hear Soph, or I hear, Ed, Big Ed, or whoever I'm writing, I hear, and that's what makes it really funny, and that's where the essence of the writing comes in, because I don't audition. A lot of studios audition. I say, Keaton, I got this part for you. It's you. What's your schedule like? Can you do the play this year? And it's always been that way. When I was asked to audition, when I was directing underneath other studios, I held the auditions, but trust me, I took every single kid and I found something for them to do. Right. Because, for all those growing up, when I grew up, and I don't know, do they still pick teams now, Keaton? Do you still do that, Jim?
Well, I know that at least at MIA, if you sign up for the team, you're probably getting on. Yeah. But for regular schools,
you do get picked.
You'll actually get picked.
Or just your average gym class. Do they still get the two popular kids or the captains, and they pick? Do they still do
that back in middle school? Well, we didn't have gym at MIA.
That was part of our. So for all those kids that never got picked first on the team, that were always the last and got humiliated, my studio is for you, because we never leave any child behind. They're no longer children, as you can see.
Well, Keaton turned 18 today.
So. Yay!
It is?
Yay!
Oh, wow!
I can buy scratch-offs. I can get drafted. I can vote.
And I'm going to make you rehearse tonight till 11:30.
Yay!
All right. Well, we're doing dinner, so that's going to be your birthday. Birthday dinner. So you can have a steak. You can have cheese. All right. So that's how.
There's a block of mozzarella. Oh, thanks.
And trust me, I was a really good athlete. So I have to say, I wasn't on the end of who didn't get picked. And I remember being like that great athlete. I actually fell into the same trap where I wanted to win. So I would pick and I remember my best friend from Jersey. Kind of was she was a big girl, and I'll never forget how I hurt her feelings that I didn't pick her on my team. And she came up to me and she goes, when you got chose to pick teams, I really thought, finally, because you're my friend and you didn't do it. And something like that. Yeah, something like that. That sticks with you. And I thought, you know what? She's right. I wasn't her friend. I was a bit of a you-know-what. And that was, and you know what? We weren't too friendly after that, because I hurt her. It was all about, I'm cool, I'm going to win, she's slow. So,
Keaton, would you do that to me?
No, I'd pick you.
Are you sure?
Yeah, you're a wild... Ryan, you're a bit of a wild card. Some things we can see. Most we don't know.
Well, I went to school in the 60s and 70s, and it was I don't know, is it image? I see things different. I see schools allow, well, aside from the uniforms, but I see that freedom of expression, especially when you showed me that art wall in the middle school.
Yeah, no, Keaton, we were trying to find the light switch the other night at the end of rehearsal.
Oh, yeah?
And outside of the art room, there's a bunch of political cartoons all over the wall.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's like a bunch of people were drawing pictures of Trump and Biden, and it's just like...
And a Pikachu. I don't know how that kind of
I don't
know. Slid in there.
And, like, there was one with Trump where it said Angry Orange Cheeto, and then there was...
It's my favorite. Whoever did the Angry Orange Cheeto, that was my favorite.
And then there was one with Joe Biden with it's like
sniffing
a kid, and it's like, nice conditioner. It's all over the place.
And never in my day, the dinosaur days, were we allowed to have that type of freedom or expression. So I think things have changed. Times have changed. But all in all, maybe they don't do that. And when I started Parks and Rec, it used to be, I just would divide the teams myself. I'd be like, I'm just, I knew who the athletes were, I knew who the middle, and I know.
Got to make sure the teams aren't stacked too.
I balanced them, and I made it where, all right, you three go over there, you three go over there, and I never ever let that happen because that experience didn't leave me. So it stuck with me in my concept of what a studio should be. I mean, how can you have a 5-year-old come to your studio to audition for me to turn them down? It's not my thing, and that's probably what's gotten me in trouble because I've added those extra parts. To put make every child that star in a few lines. And again, that's why I said I got to do my own stuff. And I understand what the other the other theaters were playing by the rules. I get it, so I'm not faulting them, but it just. It wasn't.
Yeah, it
me.
makes sense.
It wasn't me. So
I got turned into a drunk Indian
with no lines because you couldn't say anything. My Indian companion friend, companion.
I should have been around in like the 1920s. Been a silent actor.
Yeah, there you go.
I probably, if you, and I don't know if either one of you realize because you've been around me long enough, especially this one. You started what age? Is
7 years old.
7 years old. You were old.
I was almost there.
Yeah. Well, Keaton was in Willy Wonka.
Oh, did you drop out?
But he dropped out.
I did drop out.
He was one of the Oompa Loompas.
How many times my daughter had to choreograph that?
Oh, he dropped out first weeks.
Yeah, it was like 2 days.
Yeah, it was like 2 days.
And I was like,
good, because football. That was a really hard play. I mean.
Yeah, no, I looking. Like, for being my first play, I was like, wow, that was great. And then looking back, like, I hear all the people who were older than me at the time. It's like, wow, Willy Wonka was hard. I'm like, what was so hard about it? I just went up there and said, it's like, what do you get when you guzzle down sweets? And, like, that's it. So I was younger, so I didn't understand.
You got the Oompa Loompa part because of those big eyes. And my daughter, we call her Bowie. That's her nickname. She saw those eyes and those cheeks, and she went, oh. That's an Oompa Loompa.
What?
And what part were you given?
I was an Oompa Loompa as well.
You were an Oompa Loompa as well?
I did.
She probably said we need a tall Oompa Loompa.
No, he was same height as me at that time.
Yeah. I was actually skinny back
short?
then.
No,
I know. That was first.
Yeah, no, I know.
Ryan, do you know?
Well, Keaton and I were the same height for like the first year. Then you started getting taller.
If you knew how we sweated that play, because this was, I would have to say, that's the only play where I really didn't know what was going to happen. Because our dress rehearsal it was rough.
What about Three Musketeers when you guys canceled?
The day before. It was like the day before.
It's like, I will refund all the tickets.
Oh man, that was brutal. That was cutting it real close. Mm-hmm. Oh man.
That was probably the most difficult because I
had to teach everyone how to fence.
We had to teach
fencing. Olivia, when I gave her a ride home the other night, she said she's learning how to fence, so we could always bring that back,
What doesn't Olivia do?
I know.
She's going to be like our everything. It's like, can you, are you a trapeze artist? Good, because now we could do circus. I mean...
Here, it's funny. Keaton, you were trying to butt in and say something.
I was going to say, do you remember what play Luke was in?
Luke. Well, a lot of them. Well, I mean, the last one Luke was in would have been The Odd Couple.
Yeah, I think I went to go see that one because Tristan brought me in to see that one because of Luke.
Yeah, that was
in the Breakfast Club.
Now the Breakfast Club is one of the only 2 plays that I've not been in since Willy Wonka. Peter Pan and Breakfast Club were the only 2 plays that I wasn't in since Willy Wonka that you've done.
Well, the Breakfast Club was a little raw because that was all high school stuff. And yes, if we were following the script, there was that
Well, you left it in.
Word.
You left it in because I remember talking to Luke about that.
I did leave it in. And people weren't fazed only because you watched the movie. And I took it out at certain areas, but sometimes, when the teacher left and the door gets slammed and that word it was like perfect. So there's just sometimes. So no, that wouldn't have been a little kid.
Well, yeah, because I was like 10. So
yeah, there was actually Eddie Ludwigson was the youngest one in that one. He was probably still middle school, and everybody else maybe he was a freshman at the time.
Because I'm pretty sure you had Marielle, Abby, Luke, Eddie, Joey
Byrne, and then we had.
I don't remember who else.
Oh, he played Chris Nemchek was the janitor.
I don't know who
Chris
Nemchek
Nemchek
is.
was one of my original techs. They used to call themselves Wolverine, Matt, Bowie, and Chris.
The Wolf Pack.
The Wolf Pack that played that horrible trick on me, which you were Tony in
West Side Story.
That's
so Keaton, did we
unforgivable.
ever tell you the story of what happened in West Side Story?
No.
Okay, so one day while Gina was out, Bowie, Matt Martinez, and Chris, they decided, let's pull a prank on Gina. So there's a scene where I die. I get shot.
One of these full-on dramatic. I need total silence.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, while I'm on the ground, they start playing the song "I've Got the Power." I've Got the Power. It's like da 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 dun dun, and I like convulse on the ground. Da 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 dun 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 da 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 dun dun, and then Cooper, whose character also died, and Eddie, whose character also died, would come out and start dancing, and then I'd have to get up and dance, and then everyone else in the cast would come out and dance, and Gina was like, "Stop it! What the hell was that?"
It was like, whoa, 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 whoa. I was like, I'm looking around as I watched the whole theater just pop up and dance, and I didn't even know Ryan was in on it, and here I'm feeling bad for him, thinking like he went along with it.
Abby forgot though. Abby, who played Maria, she forgot that we were doing it. So
I remember sat everybody down, and it was a dark day as I watched the Wolfpack cracking up in the tech booth, and I'm just like, and they recorded what happened to me when I saw that.
Oh, does that video still exist?
Bowie probably has it.
Oh, I need to ask Bowie for
you don't
that.
want to go there.
No,
Was it one of my finer moments? I was never so mad because when, just like Anthony has a scene, I don't want to spoil it, but he has a scene, and that would be, and when you got to bring tears to when you have to be that focused, and then all of a sudden the whole theater lights up and starts dancing around, and I'm looking around like, what I felt like I was in Oz. I was, that was one of my Angora moments, but also the 1920s radio show.
I thought that was 1940s radio show.
Was it?
That was before my time.
That was another Bowie moment.
That was before my time. Do you want to explain that? Or?
Well, they're singing, you say potato, I say potato, right? Potato, potato, tomato. Let's call the whole thing, right? It's that song.
Bun.
Now, while Marielle is singing her heart out, because she didn't even know this gag was planned, I see Chris, and this is full-on dress rehearsal the day before, and Chris Nemchek, Wolfpack number 3, all right, leaves the tech booth, and all of a sudden he goes on stage, and he's adjusting her mic, and I'm thinking, is he nuts? Now's not the time. After the song, he could have said, "Gina, wait, stop. We're not hearing her." And I was mad at that. Just that he was up there playing with the mics, and all of a sudden he grabs the mic and he starts singing. It's funny now, and then Marielle was just with her and almost in tears, and he's like, "Tomato, let's call the," and I was like, "Yeah, I can't say it." Because I got warned about words that you can't say. And it was that was another, Wolfpack moment where they thought they were. Oh yeah, that one too. You know what? And you were there when
Great
Josiah
moments.
Hurtley.
Oh.
Or why don't you tell that one?
Okay. Well,
that
Keaton,
moment,
do you want to still tell the Belton story?
without?
Yeah, without. Well, Keaton's got his own code aside from the podcast.
So, people backstage, they don't like sitting down. And they walk around, and a lot of people fool around while they're backstage.
Fool around too much.
So eventually, you notice when people fool around too much.
Because then you talking.
Yeah, you start talking, you start messing with stuff. And then your director sees it, and then she comes backstage, and nobody expected this. Everybody was just like, and then it's just like dead silence. It was just like, Belton, sit down. But there's another word in there.
Mind you, I was getting ready to go out on stage. I think this was shortly before Daphne's character died.
Yeah.
And I see Belton just kind of walking around like and talking and all that, and then I hear from out in the out in the house, and I'm like, huh? I hear
she's coming.
I hear the chair push out, and then I see, in Looney Tunes when Yosemite Sam's got the smoke coming out of his ears because he's so mad. That I see that. I see you walking up, smoke coming out of your ears, and then walking around the side, and then just.
That's what I do. I don't say anything because I'm trying to see who sees me as I'm looking around to figure out who's making all that racket.
Then you've got like. It was either Emily or Leah because one of them was on stage.
I was around the corner. I didn't even know that she was coming back there until
I was on the other corner. And then all of a sudden, Belton.
Well, wait. Why?
Oh,
why did that happen?
So he looks at you, and then he goes back to doing
and starts talking. Like looks at me like so, and then just keeps. Meanwhile, the person he was talking to was like.
Who was he talking to? Was he talking to Ed?
One of the boys.
I think he was talking to Ed.
We call them the Laley boys. My boys, I miss them. And they're all trying to give him the hint, like, you need to sit down. He's staring right at you. But when he's talking, and he just like looked at me like this, like, what's up? And then he just turned and he kept talking. And then that's when that happened.
Yeah. And Slacker was there, too.
Oh, yeah.
You keep forgetting Slacker, who was 8 at the time, was around the corner.
But that was one of those things where I just couldn't help. Because he looked at me. He looked right at me and kept talking. Usually if I look, no matter how tough and big you guys are, if I look at you, all right, be quiet. She caught us.
It's like a mother's fear.
And so what happened, and now it's become like the theater joke. So every once in a while when somebody's talking, I hear one of my actors impersonate me with that.
Belton!
Sit, and we're gonna just leave it from sit.
We just say Belton.
Yeah.
And we all gets everyone to shut up, and everyone knows. Even Teaker references that often. Who Teaker wasn't even in Three Musketeers.
Yeah, and he's doing it. And so that was one, but now you can tell Arsenic and Old Lace what happened with Josiah.
Josiah.
Josiah, if you're out there, you're going to get it now.
Yeah.
Some things are just unforgivable.
Josiah Hurtley. He played one of the police officers in Arsenic and Old Lace, which Keaton and I explained to you. Arsenic and Old Lace, 2 old ladies that kill old men, give them wine.
Yeah.
Basic gist of it.
Elderberry wine.
Elderberry wine. So there's... the cops are called, and Josiah's character is supposed to come up to the door, and then Marielle's on stage. It's like, oh, look, it's Officer O'Hara.
Yeah.
Officer O'Hara.
What? Did
Dead
he walk
silence.
by the house?
I think he went next door. I think he's trying to get to our house. Officer O'Hara, is that you?
Officer O'Hara.
So Abby and Em are on stage improving. While... I am the only person backstage other than Josiah because my character hasn't come through until the end, and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm like Josiah, your character's name is being called. What? He looks up from his Kindle where he is playing Jetpack Joyride.
He still remembers the game.
Well, it was an iconic game. He's playing Jetpack Joyride on his Amazon Fire Kindle, and then I don't remember who ran backstage. I don't think it was you. I think it might have been.
No, I couldn't. This was a performance.
This was a show. This wasn't just a dress rehearsal. This was a show. And then I think Eddie comes around the corner. It's like, Josiah, get you on stage right now. And then Josiah's like, what? It's like, and then he goes up to him, he yanks on his earbuds. It's like, stage. And it's, this was like the scene before intermission or something. And then Gina just comes backstage. She gives her signature. And then Josiah just disappears into a ball.
I shrunk about 2 inches in his chair. And there's there's no amount of apology that you can you can't.
That
say,
was his last
I'm
play
sorry,
for a while.
It'll never happen again.
It's like, yes, it never will happen again. Did Josiah come back after that?
I think he went to Shakespeare after that.
He went to Shakespeare after that.
Yeah, I think he did disappear after that show.
But of course, Johnny came back. So
yeah.
But now, Gina, I got a question. I've asked Keaton this question before. He said last week that his favorite play that we've done is Battlefield. Out of every play, let's make this 2 questions. Every play you have written.
Yeah, written and
We'll do every play you've written. Which one's your favorite? Every play you've directed, which one's your favorite? And then every play you've acted in yourself, which one's your favorite? Let's start with acted in, because I know the least about that era.
Yeah, you do. I would say the Cemetery Club.
The cemetery. What is that?
That is about 3 women who lost their husbands, and they used to go to the grave every Sunday and visit their husbands. I believe her character was Lucille.
Was that the one who threw the wig?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, that's the one. And, she was in love with herself, so she always thought the guys were looking at her, and so she was very flamboyant. It was right up my alley to play somebody like this, because the one was totally devoted to her husband. No offense, Phil, but I wasn't married to you, so a devoted wife. I was not feeling it at that time. I was devoted, but I was a little mad at my ex. So no. And then the other one was she wanted to date again. She just wanted to meet. She loved her husband that left her, but it's time now. So a very her name was Lois, and her last name will come to me. Everybody was cast perfectly. Everybody was cast perfectly.
Lois.
And I love that play because aside from playing that scene where we all get drunk because one of our girlfriends always got married, so we were always bridesmaids. It seems like every other year she was like getting married, so it's like we were all bridesmaids. So we come back and we had to pretend we were drunk. So it goes from a funny drunk scene to a very dramatic scene where they fight. And that's the scene where, every night, and when you Marco players, what is that, like 10, 12 performances, I don't know.
Yeah.
I had to get milk thrown in my face. Yeah. So that was, and one time somebody really filled it up. And I threw water. I got milk in my face. So
that was your favorite play to act in?
Well, because of I really enjoyed the character. Because one time I was in a melodrama and I played like the matronly, like winking,
a melodrama.
My own daughter Bowie played my granddaughter, which I was like, this really stinks. So
all right, Gigi.
Yeah. So I was like, I'm playing her grandmother. Okay, but I get it because the play was back in that era where I would have been a grandmother in my 30s. Mm-hmm. That would have been a possibility, but I had a hard time getting over that one. So that was probably my favorite. As far as directed, I have. Well, go ahead.
Actually, I'm going to give you a little time to think about this because we've actually got to go to break. So we're just gonna take our time to get water, whatever we need. We will see you in a few minutes. You'll see us in a few seconds. And we're back. So, yes. Gina, before we went away, we were talking about what your favorite show to direct and your favorite show that you've ever written was.
Mm-hmm. I have to say there's 2 for what I directed. Mm-hmm. One was Phantom of the Opera.
Oh.
Because the choreography and I have to say the work that Bowie did right after we did Phantom of the Opera for the YMCA at the time.
That was for the Parks and Recreation.
Oh, right, that's right. It was right. It was for good memory. That's why
Thanks.
You're young and I'm old. All right. So.
Well, I mean, that was my favorite play for quite a while.
It was because you get to constantly die. That's where Claire slapped you really, really hard.
Oh yeah.
But, yeah.
Very nice.
And I remember you were like,
what? No, not like that.
You've gotten hurt a lot in plays just recently in this one,
my sternum.
And I remember that I had to go to Vegas on business right after. Uh-huh. And my husband bought us tickets to see Phantom of the Opera in Vegas. And I'm sitting there watching it, and I looked at Phil and I went, Bowie did it better. Bowie did it better, especially her fan dance masquerade.
Well, I mean, yeah, better have been. We took like 9 hours to do that whole
Phantom
dance.
of the Opera, and she had the kids like the rats in the shadows. So As far as musical,
I stepped on Josie's hair during the rat dance, and I'm just like, I'm sorry, I stepped on your hair.
Yeah, so musical,
on stage.
Phantom of the Opera, and Bowie was quite incredible as my choreographer. That's back in the day where we were kind of like Oscar and Hammerstein. So most of those plays in the early time was always Disney or musicals to try, because we had like 40 kids in that play that would sign up. So the favorite one I directed, not one I wrote, had to be Leading Ladies.
Oh.
That was one of my favorites, the story about the English Shakespearean actors, and that was Dylan Rogers and Cooper.
Yeah, Cooper Ussery.
Yep, and where they, with the cross-dressing, and you played, what was your character again?
My name was Doc.
Doc, and he didn't realize he was falling in love with one of the cross-dressers, and it was one of those unique moments where I said, leave it. It wasn't in the play, but it's one of those things where, you know, he's trying to seduce Cooper's character, and Cooper was trying to get away from him.
We were dancing. This was the night of a wedding or something.
And I remember Cooper said something that, like, we can't do this here. Something like that, and Ryan goes, "You're right. We can go backstage." And he starts taking off his.
No, I said we could go behind the couch, and then I start taking my jacket off.
And taking off his, and Cooper was like, "No!" And I was like, "That was leave it, leave it." Unfortunately, the theater that hired me at the time didn't pick it up, and we got away with it, and it was great. But that was just my favorite because that whole cross-dressing and
that was hilarious.
It was just a real funny show. The next one,
I remember backstage when Dylan first put on his dress, the wig and the makeup and everything.
He looked great.
He looked in the mirror and he goes, "Yeah."
Oh my gosh.
He goes, "It's like, I'd date her."
Then I remember as the girls are getting ready, there's Cooper getting ready in the girls' dressing room. And I used to be like, "Cooper, you're supposed to be getting dressed with Dylan." And the girls are like, no, we need him here to help us get dressed. And he's sitting there in his pantyhose and female underwear, and I couldn't stop.
He really got into it.
Yeah, I was like, I was
really
laughing.
got into it
because he used to always say, "I want to play." He always wanted to do a role like that, so he was perfect.
Was it him or Johnny that always, whenever we did the tryouts when we were still at the Marco Players for the
we always put Johnny in Bowie put Johnny in female clothes. He was the Chiquita
Banana.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, Johnny has changed. You know, I think he would do it if I asked him to do it.
Yeah, if you asked him to, if you asked him to do anything, he would.
Johnny would do it. Johnny loves me. Now, as far as I've written, it's yet to be seen because I got a good feeling about this one.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but otherwise, if you consider without looking into the future, like in hindsight,
next.
You know, it's really hard to pick between Battlefield of Brotherhood and Jersey Fried Tomatoes.
Men of Rushmore doesn't measure in.
I mean, Battlefield was just
an
brilliant.
epic.
It was, and you know, I know you keep telling me we got to bring it back. We got to bring it back.
We need to revive it at some point.
And then Jersey Fried Tomatoes was my family, so it was my Newark, Jersey history.
Mm-hmm.
And what I was saying, and I don't think I finished the thought, is that if you look at all my writings, there's somebody that's always me in that play. So if you had to pick, you know, Battlefield of Brotherhood, who do you think I wrote close to me?
I'm thinking either
Mama Hayes.
Mama Hayes?
No. I was
going to say
one of the female.
I was thinking.
This is definitely not the. Definitely
I wasn't going to say Mariella. I would say this the school teacher Claire's character, or no?
Oh, no, Leah's character.
Oh, Mariella.
Yeah, yeah, because she was, you know, back in the '60s, I was like that too, because again, the times there was a line drawn. Like, you know, you couldn't even be Italian and date an Irish person. Well, I'm talking, and some of those that are as old as me will say, "Oh yeah, I mean, if you were Jewish and I was Catholic, I couldn't date you." So it wasn't just race; it was everything
along all the lines.
It was everything, and I broke the mold because I was like, you can't tell me who I can be friends with, who I can date, and I was a rebel that way. I guess I've always broken the rules, and if my father would have caught me being the Italian Catholic father, whoa! But I just felt like I've always been
break the color barrier and break any barriers and stuff. Yeah.
Always. So I felt like I
Tinker.
wrote that. I wrote that because that would have been me probably back in the day. I'm sure. And then of course Jersey Fried Toast. It looks like
Angie.
Leah's been playing me.
Yeah, I guess so.
I guess Leah's has then it turned into Kiki. But even if you look at this play, Keaton, who would you say is me?
Oh man.
Whose name do you repeat?
Sweetie.
Sweetie.
Yeah,
All right.
Mallory.
I mean, if you look at a lot of her lines that she says where she's telling somebody off, I mean, that would have been me when, your line where you're talking about, I hate heights.
It's
That
true.
whole thing, don't look down,
It's true.
And then, of course, in Misfits, you were Brokeback.
Well, that for real, because I did work out with those.
Because that was actually you.
Yeah, so Sweetie is me. So I always seem to, and I don't do it intentionally, but as I'm writing a female character, somewhere I pop up in there, and I put myself in that person. It's really so. I enjoy watching Soph play this character because I'm watching me. I'm watching me. If I was that person in that 20s. We would have had this type of relationship. I would have been a hard worker. You would have depended on me, but I would have let you have it.
You'd be fired.
I would know my place, Keaton, because there would come a time I am afraid of my job, all right, because you did have the final say, but you depended on me so much you wouldn't think of it. And
it's true.
When push came to shove, I can't give any more. I can't give that part of the play. So you guys have been in all of them. From Battlefield.
He came in during Battlefield. He wasn't in.
Yeah, so
the notorious associate.
Oh yeah.
I mean.
Well, actually, Gina,
Yeah.
we have now told this story twice on the podcast. Once from Keaton's perspective, and once from Teaker's perspective.
Yeah.
Now, the first breakfast meeting for Battlefield of Brotherhood, when the associate arrived.
Oh, that's right.
The associate did.
The associate.
It's like, who's this kid?
I know. God, another freeloader for pancakes and
Bacon.
Was another
You
freeloader.
guys should have been like the Bacon Bunch or something.
Oh, the bacon
Bacon Bunch. That's
Yeah, I
such a
know.
good name.
Instead of the pickle jar, the bacon.
Pickle Posse.
Yeah. Because even Teaker, if Teaker ever joins this, it's gonna have to change it to the Bacon Bunch.
Yeah.
That's true.
You
Well,
know?
Keaton suggested that when he moves away, we could always bring in Teaker as a guest host.
Yeah.
Yeah, because of course you got to come back and take your place. This is you. This is your
Yeah.
thing. Your
Well,
thing. So I
we're-
just-
We're planning.
We
on
are
something
planning on
special.
how to do it virtually,
Yes.
Oh,
but
that's cool.
we've got some things in the
But
works.
I'm
His
just
birthday
really
present.
interested about your first time working for this studio and like what you went through and you played what the Musketeer you played in your improv with that Rolling Stone about respect.
Oh yeah.
And I've tried.
Yes.
And I've tried.
And that's again, that was a no-no. But I was like, slap my hand. But you know what? It's so funny. We gotta leave it in. We gotta leave it in.
Because I remember initially Gina wanted you to play D'Artagnan and wanted me to be Porthos, but you were like, I don't think I can do that.
I don't like lead roles. I don't want that.
You like being the comic relief in the background.
Oh, with you with the fur and
the
coming
big
in,
fur.
being
It's
the
pure
the
minx
dresser
fur.
and like
Russia.
And I think there's a parallel with your characters, except Battlefield of Brotherhood.
There's a
because
theory out there.
Yeah, you played just a good old boy, dirt poor farmer that it wasn't his war, but you played it really well. That's why you keep coming back. Obviously, if I didn't like it, you wouldn't have been coming back to all these other ones.
Well, I mean, there's the extended Sisbarro-verse theory where all of Keaton's characters are related.
JJ.
Yeah.
Are essentially JJ and JJ's
So
descendants.
I'm just interested. I mean, your first, go around with us, me. It had to be. What were
A
you?
culture shock.
I was very pleasantly surprised because my past acting experiences weren't that, they were a little interesting, I would put, because it surrounded around musicals, which I absolutely hate musicals and I don't like singing. So I was very happy that I could just
Well, at least
act
you
and
can
not
still
sing.
dance.
Yeah, you did one of the, where we did that, weren't you one of the ones that recited when we changed
Hey,
that
diddly,
tavern?
whatever
we
you do.
wrote
Oh
that
yeah,
song.
I was like, Gina, I cannot sing for the life of me. I was just
you're
like,
not, you're rapping. And I thought that was unique. That was another one of those, we shouldn't have done that, but that was.
I thought it was a great scene, and I'm glad that I ended up at the back bar.
You did do it though, didn't you?
Yeah, I was just like, at the end.
But
it was John, Ed, and Paco.
Oh,
Yeah.
Who
okay.
did it.
Ed did?
Ed, yeah.
I originally was doing it, and then I was just like, yeah,
Like, Gina, I can't sing.
Oh, man.
I remember.
It's great.
What was your favorite scene in that show?
In the Three Musketeers.
Yeah, in Three Musketeers.
Oh, it's the first scene.
Yeah, the first scene where we meet, because I don't think a single line in that scene was out of the script.
Oh no.
Keaton and I made up that entire scene.
Yeah.
because-
Oh yeah. That was just
great.
pure
It was great.
improv.
You know what cracks me up? It's one of the shows you were at war and you came out in your mask.
masquerade.
You didn't take off your mask.
Oh yeah. I forgot.
He comes out in this real serious. All right, we're gonna do this and charge it. And he's at war and he's got.
And also, he's still wearing his
and he's
Nikes.
still got his mask on. I think I went backstage and I'm like, "Are you still at the party? Take your mask off." But I
Forgot about that.
It comes out. Was it red too? I mean, it was
Yeah,
like
he was matching your
everybody-
shoes.
It was. But I am cracking up in the audience. But of course, I'm going, "Oh, what was he thinking? Did anybody? Did his two other musketeers tell him to take off the mask
No.
before he
Well,
walks
I mean,
on stage?"
if you think about it too,
I got a little
was
too-
the only one with experience at that point too.
And
of
you
the
left
Three
your mask
Musketeers.
on.
Yeah.
I know.
Well, because that was Paco's first show, and that was Mark's first show.
Yeah.
I was the stylish musketeer.
Yeah,
though.
so-
Are you serious?
Yeah, he's still got to wear his Nikes that came out in 2014.
Yeah.
Back in the 1750s.
Pure style. It's because I forgot my shoes the one night.
Oh yeah, because that was also, if you remember, that was the night that he wore his Nikes instead of wearing.
But we had the black boots.
Yeah, we had the
covering,
boot
so
covers, but it
good.
didn't like cover that well.
You could still see the red check mark.
It was great, but
That was also the night it was filmed.
Yeah, right. Was that? Yeah, that was. Yeah, when he came out.
Yeah,
with
you
the
can
mask,
see it on the
so
film.
that-
worst.
Murphy's Law.
Oh man.
But Battlefield of Brotherhood, because you had to give you had a lot of long, those big couple of paragraphs.
Yeah, you were.
Oh,
Hot
yeah.
and you were hot off the heels of bowling for buzzards.
Yeah,
So-
that's true. We just came off of Lion King,
No.
and then we
which
came,
was your first speaking role too.
yeah. Well, no, you're forgetting about the
Oh,
Music
did you
Man.
have three lines in Music Man.
I
You
did.
know that Keaton and I were both supposed to be part of the quartet until you told me, it's like, Ryan, it's not. It's just like it's not.
I had one
No,
scene where we,
that was me.
I had one scene where we ran off stage and we all tripped on each other and fell in the middle of the crowd. This was in a performance. It was great. Hilarious.
I do champion you guys, and maybe I've done the wrong thing at times, but if I feel that you have this much talent, I want you to go. I want you to go up, not sideways or down, unless the director is out of New York and oh my God, it's an opportunity to work with this guy.
I would, get
Unless it was something like that.
$75,000 to be a tree.
I would say, who cares? You got 2 lines. You get to work with this guy.
Yeah, no. I mean, well, because I was coming I'm trying to remember what show we did right before that. I think it was coming off of Odd Couple, and
Yeah, you played.
and I was Vinny, the nerd again. I feel like Vinny and Oliver are related somehow.
Sort of, except Vinny has the wife that henpecks him.
Yeah.
You know.
I gotta leave by 12.
Yeah, I know.
Let's just say in the headcanon, Oliver and Vinny are neighbors. They live in the same apartment.
Probably.
Makes sense.
I would say in the city. I would
Yeah,
say in the
alone
city.
in 8 dirty rooms.
And then you should tell us. I mean, the stress I put on you with Jersey fried tomatoes.
Oh,
We had an actor that, and I just thought I had that much after watching you perform for the past 2 years. I thought piece of cake, forgetting that you had school and all this other stuff that you have to do. So I mean, what else do you have to do but study for 2 roles in one?
It was like 2.5 weeks before the play. I was just like, oh,
Was
that's...
it 2.5?
No. At this point, 2.5 weeks before the play, when he had to be off book, and he was
Yeah.
nowhere near.
Oh.
And I was just like...
Now, Sean, I don't feel bad for calling you out, Sean had quit this show as well because he was.
No, Sean. He was the king.
I am 100%. Sean was the king in Three Musketeers. That was his first role with you.
Okay,
in Jersey Fried
Chicken
Tomatoes. Sean was supposed to play Mr. J, but he was also cast as Aladdin, which was the same weekend.
Right.
So he dropped out.
And at that point, I'm like, to teach somebody this, like.
Yeah, this was like a month into rehearsals. So it's like, Keaton, you're Mr. J.
We're not going to give up what we did because it worked. We're not going to give up our secret. We're going to.
I love the secret.
I think we should.
Glorious.
Don't you think, or do you think we should give that up?
I think we should give it up. I think
it opens up a room for improv. All right.
It's up to you. Do you want to give up the secret?
I think Teaker already said it.
Yeah, I feel like
All right, Teaker already disclosed that.
I think so.
Thank goodness for clipboards.
He lost his clout suit. Really? All right. Well, you could say like when I. Because I saw the stress and I thought, this kid's going to have a heart attack on me.
Oh, yeah.
And I know you like to perform at the optimal. So I was like, what am I doing today?
I like when I have a role where it's like very like loose lines and I could just like improv most of it.
You get the basic gist of it.
Yeah.
You're not always going to be 100%, which you don't need to be 100%.
Yeah, you can make it creative.
Then that's the difference between this studio and other studios because I'm okay with it. Because sometimes
that's why I liked it.
It comes
this
out
more.
Better.
Mm-hmm.
It comes out a little bit better.
Oh yeah.
Well, because I feel like when we're not.
It creates more chemistry between each other too.
Yeah,
when you have more freedom to work with.
That's what I was saying, because if we're not 100%, this is exactly what you need to say. It also comes out a lot more natural.
Yeah,
I feel like when Anthony and I are getting into it in this show, it sounds a lot more natural. And then in Battlefield, the scene with Keaton, myself, and Claire.
That was a great scene.
Yeah, I think that's one of the best scenes we've ever done.
Mm-hmm.
But which is why Battlefield will always hold a special place in my heart. I was getting a hiccup there. It didn't come out. But yeah, no, Battlefield will always hold a special place because of that.
So you can say the day I came to you and said, this is what we're going to do. So now that if Teaker already gave it up, then he can give up what we did. And nobody knew it worked.
Yeah,
it was
basically,
brilliant.
Essentially, I had a lot of lines where they were like thick paragraphs, probably like that thick on a piece of paper.
Thicker.
He was also Colonel Sanders.
Yeah, I was dressed up as Colonel Sanders. But what I have managed to pull off was the mighty clipboard. I had a clipboard with all of my pages of lines that I had on it for that character. And all I would do was I would walk out there and I would take notes on it and act like I'm writing things down, because that's what my job was in Jersey Fried Tomatoes, was to question the women that were there. So I had
to see if they're allowed in.
Yeah. So I had my whole script, and I could just use that to read off my lines, and I'd just act like, I'm writing something down, which in reality I'm just watching it go.
Yeah.
Which is
it was brilliant because you weren't reading. You would take a quick glance, look up, take a quick glance like you were writing, look up.
Yeah,
you really did it so well that no one had any idea that those words were right in front of you.
Hiding in plain sight.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
And I don't remember who, but someone had told us that they tried to take a peek at the clipboard like during the show because he had turned it at one point, and all they saw were scribbles on it. So they thought it was just a blank sheet with scribbles. Who was that? Was that?
I don't know.
I feel like that was either Heidi or Marley that said that.
Yeah, I think it was Heidi.
Well, nobody could read it because you were scribbling on it to make it look like. And I said, "Do you want a clean one?" And you're like, "No, I have everything where I need to see."
Oh yeah, I had.
So I'll give you a clean. You're like, "No, I have it all."
I had it highlighted. Yeah. I had it underlined. I had some directions on there too for at that moment what to do. It's pretty nice.
And then you know what? And from there it just went.
The last scene where I had to sit in the chair and read out the analysis between the women.
Yeah.
I was so thankful for that clipboard.
Well, because that was like 2 whole pages.
Oh yeah, it was it was very long, and I was just like,
because you were passing judgment on them.
Yeah.
So that's why, and they were just standing there listening to you passing your judge and jury, JJ,
yeah.
And it was long, but I thought it was a brilliant job. I was sitting there going, "Bravo, Keaton! You pulled it off." Not one person came to me and said, "He's reading off his clipboard." I would have denied it anyway, but you
You're
didn't.
like, no. Let me see the
you're
clipboard.
reading off
No.
the clipboard. Yeah. So there's tricks in the theater that you can use. All right, we gave up that one, but we're not going to give up what we're doing, this time around. Because those are and like you said, there's times where you can just improv and get that conversation out, but there are times where that line has to get out.
Yeah.
And usually those are the lines that are lost with you guys.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you got to say that one. That
Yeah.
one's important because it's got 3 lines that follow up that one point.
Well, because sometimes I know in this show I've been doing this a lot with Mikey. We won't even notice if we skip something sometimes because we'll get into a groove and we'll just keep going, not even notice that we messed up. I know Cooper and Dylan said that remember when they skipped like 2 whole pages during Leading Ladies?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing is, if you skip, you gotta keep going.
Yeah.
And some of the younger actors get upset and roll it back, and I'm like, gosh, don't roll it back.
Oh, that is the
You gotta-
worst thing you can
You
ever do.
just go from the
It's
point
like,
to skip.
what do you mean? You just said that.
Yeah.
And it just like repeats itself, and it's just like,
Yeah,
oh.
it's
whoa.
not a good. And
Well, that's when you say, well, like I said already.
Yeah, well, like I said already.
I already said that, but I'll say it again. And it drives
you're
the
not
text
listening.
crazy, the ones that are working right off the
yeah.
script. I can't tell you how many times Braille came to me and said, there's 3 pages missing. I said, no, that was purposely done.
Yeah, oh no, we cut that out.
We cut.
It's like,
we
why
cut
didn't
that
they
out.
sing that whole song? Oh, well, because we wanted the play to be shorter.
Yeah, we would have loved for them to sing it, but we had to.
Well.
And again, no, I did like it, but again, that's that creative
think
freedom
Ryan did.
that it's
I
not
like what
working.
I'm doing now.
It's not working. You just don't know how to waltz. That's your problem.
Yeah,
I like what I'm doing now.
Come on.
I like what
He
I'm
wants
doing
to
now.
dance the way he wants to.
Well,
dance.
yeah. Well, also, I have to throw in this signature Ryan move that any time that there's a song must be thrown into any show.
Yeah, right.
Not
Yeah,
kicking
yeah,
the
yeah.
table, I'll tell you that. But it's like this, and then I bring my ankle up to my knee. You'll see it
All right,
tonight.
I'll-
Anthony
I
reminded
will,
me.
like, look for it.
Yeah. Anthony reminded me. It's like, Ryan, you don't do the signature move in this show.
He trademarks his dance.
I did that in Spam-A-Lot like 4 times with the
Yeah,
kids.
you had all you. Yeah, never give you power. You made those kids have
You know what's
as
coming
like
up
a
the
figure.
pipe, though. There's a lot.
Oh yeah, I was a
yeah.
figurehead in that. I was.
You're just like, oh, Ryan, the director.
Yeah. Well,
You all dance my dance.
I had my chair, which gave me the power, and then Jack got me the shirt that said Director Ryan on the back, and I'm like, it's like, listen to me. Yeah, I like the feeling of power when you're actually in charge.
Went to his head.
Sometimes it's a good feeling. Sometimes you want to rip your head off. So
Oh yeah.
it
Well, because there's no
all
one to
depends.
blame but yourself when something goes
No, I
wrong
mean if the
sometimes.
play flops, it's on the director. It's
Oh,
not
yeah.
it's on the studio and the director. It's not on anybody
Yeah.
else because then I didn't do my job. And one person did say, you're not. That visited the studio one time said you're not too tough on him, and I'm like, I am, but there's a fine line between. I'm not going to browbeat these guys. They're given their time.
It's like we're volunteers.
Yeah,
It's
it
not-
is. It is a volunteer thing.
You only give us food sometimes.
Yeah, I said, and it's fun.
That
It's
is a
not-
nice price.
when
You
it's
cannot
not-
deny.
When it's not fun anymore, they're going to stop coming to the studio.
Mm-hmm.
I said, so you got to give them that space to have their fun. Now,
Mm-hmm.
like I know this week I'm a little bit more uppity, and when I
Oh, that's fine. Yeah,
Saturday.
it's
Yeah.
week before.
Which is understandable.
Like 3 days. 3 days.
Yeah,
Yeah.
3 days.
Ooh.
Well, I don't know if you guys saw the Facebook today, but I put 3 days on
That's
on
pretty
the
scary.
Facebook. Yeah, I know, right?
so I'm actually sitting here, pretty calm
Yeah.
for
Huh?
being 2 hours away from getting ready for
Yeah,
rehearsal.
we're just
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm
it's-
ready for
well,
rehearsal.
normally rehersal would be starting right now, but
Oh, yeah.
because
It's just
I'm
rehearsal.
very grateful for
the middle school.
the middle
yeah.
school for giving us a home.
Came
They
and
saved us.
Came in clutch.
Yeah,
They-
we
they saved
should
us
talk
in the
about
final
all the
hour.
improvements because
Oh, yeah.
let's talk about why you should come because it's been our home for many years, but the 3 biggest complaints we have gotten is we can't hear, the stage is really dark, and our backsides hurt sitting on the folding chairs.
Yeah, I feel them right now.
So we decided
I should
to
have
solve
taken
that
Anthony's chair when
problem.
he
So
left.
I have to say Marco Office Supply sponsored the new lighting for the stage. Yay! Ryan did the research and got the new headsets. Yay!
Which those are the ones that we used for the Teaker episode, by the way.
Yes.
By the by.
That was the experimental
That
track.
was the experimental episode.
And it was fabulous.
And then,
Fantabulous, one
of
could
course,
say.
we bought cushions for the seats, so if you're going to be sitting on there for 2.5 hours.
I didn't know we got cushions.
Yeah, well, the
Cushions.
cushions
We got
haven't come in yet.
cushions. That's
Yeah, and
a
they say Sisbarro
major
Acting
win.
Studios on
And they
them,
say
too.
Sisbarro
Are you
Acting.
They're
serious?
branded.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep,
I
so
know.
Those
it's
are
gonna be nice.
awesome. That's so
That's gonna
cool.
be pretty cool.
So then,
Those should be coming in
'cause,
tomorrow,
sitting
so.
on those hard, like you said, after a while.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's
It's uncomfortable.
it's devastating.
So we've taken care of the 3 because it was never the acting or the play. It was.
It's like, I love the play, but I can't
Yeah.
hear what they're saying.
Right,
I
so-
can't hear what that young man in the cloud suit is saying. Well, that's just because he's not loud enough.
Yeah.
I don't need a mic.
Yeah, we won't say what play, but Tinker got spoiled being.
Oh, we already talked
we-
about it on the last
alright,
podcast.
so-
Yeah. So, someone
He forgot
someone
to,
someone kept saying that he didn't need a mic. So
and he had to keep turning to you and talking out. So that was that play poisoned him. So, and I won't say.
He got it too good.
Yeah, and then he didn't get that pounding that he normally gets. So he developed bad habits.
Yeah.
He developed bad habits. And,
It's true.
And I know it's fun, but for those that want to come into the studio, fun is fun, but there is a point where if you're going to aggravate me, like
Oh.
the big B.
Oh, we
as you
do
notice,
not
the one
aggravate.
the person that they talked about, he's not here. He's the sweetest kid, but you got to be able to take direction.
He doesn't listen to the
Yeah,
podcast
when-
anyway.
All right. Yeah. When push comes to shove, there's when the showtime is here, you got to sit and you got to take
To
direction.
quote The Cat in the Hat starring Mike Myers, it's fun to have fun, but you've got to know how. So we can have lots of fun that is funny, but you have to know when. So it's like kind of like that.
Yeah, so we're kind
Yeah,
of on
thank
the
you, Keith.
unfunny end of it. I mean, there's a few times when you went out the wrong way and you crossed back.
Oh,
Oh, I almost want to say do that because it was so hysterical, but I don't want to throw.
I'll
you
probably
off.
forget.
But it was the same walk, and it just.
tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
respect.
Most crap that happens is just like
Yeah, but you made it look like.
it's from mistakes that get recovered perfectly.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
That's why people love theater so much because when you ask people why do you love the play, and a lot of people say I love when they mess up and see how they come back.
Yeah,
It is
Well,
part of it.
if they don't know that we messed up, then we do our job
Then-
right.
right.
yeah.
Right, but I
Well,
mean, just
like
like when
you
I
said,
threw my wig,
yeah,
everybody thought that was supposed to happen.
Which there's very few people out there who actually understood that reference when I made that. But the play that Gina was talking about before, the Cemetery Club, you said, right?
Mm-hmm.
There was one point where her character throws her
threw my
head back
to laugh.
and she was wearing a blonde wig, and it flies off.
And I'm there in a stocking cap. All right.
And then the next weekend, you said that there were like a ton of people that
came
in.
to see it because everybody said, "Wait till she flips her wig! It's hysterical." And my 2 co-stars are laughing their backsides off, and I tried to I had my backside to the stage, and I was trying to grab it, and I'm looking at them. The audience didn't see me and they were so busy laughing, so I just decided to let myself fall. Just like water, just fall off the chair backward, like in defeat that I couldn't get and finally, I think it was Judy Day, she finally grabbed my wig and threw it on top of my head, but I'm thinking, help me out, but they couldn't stop laughing. And then I hear there was a backstage tech, and he's going, what's going on? They're hysterical, what's going on? And the tech in the booth went, Gina just flipped their lid, and we can't stop them from laughing. So of course, as an actress, you're told, yes, that was supposed to happen. So when people are coming down the receiving line, did you really, did you lose your wig? No. So then they're telling everybody, wait till she flips that wig. It's so funny. And then people came like, what happened? And I was like, what? You know, I just acted like I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
But people purposely came because I heard that was the funniest scene.
The wig flipping. Oh, that's pretty good.
You know, and that's where, you know, Gina, as the director, would have said, Ryan, flip your wig again. It brought down the house. That's that freedom that I like. Yeah, that I'm talking about, where I would have said, oh my God, it was the highlight of the play. We got to keep this in. Yeah. But rules say, no, that's not in the script.
But now we're free.
Yeah, now we are free.
Mm-hmm. Free acting is the best. I love when
freedom in acting or free acting. Acting for free.
Freedom in acting. No, freedom in acting is the best because just the golden moments come out when you have room to work with.
What's one of your best moments that in one of Gina's shows where
I don't know.
I still think
that's like a comical
satisfaction because
that got a roaring laugh.
Everyone loved that because the line was originally it's like
that wasn't even a free.
It's like I will not be. It's like or else I will not be satisfied. And then I said it's like. Keaton, you know the song "Satisfaction" by the Rolling Stones, and you're like, "Oh,
I can't get my satisfaction, and I've tried, and I've tried." And then we were talking about the shop, and you're like, "Oh, shop by the Rolling Stones."
It's like it's by the Stones at the Rolling River. It's like I can't get my satisfaction, and then I'm like, "Oh no."
And you gotta I remember too, we were doing Happy Days the musical.
Yeah, lean into the camera a little bit more.
Sure.
I mean, the
camera.
Microphone.
We were doing Happy Days the musical. I did not like the music from it, and I replaced it with all, 50s stuff.
Only you.
Yeah, and it was just, and guess what? I did that again. The audience, that had to hurt, huh? The audience related to it because the songs and whoever did the songs, I'm sorry, but it just the flow was better with.
Yeah, whoever wrote Happy Days the musical doesn't watch the podcast.
All right. Well, you never know. Maybe the son's watching it or something. But the best part was the fight scene between the Malachi brothers and
Malachi brothers.
Malachi
brothers. I just remember it was Josh and Johnny, and they wore sombreros.
And Cunningham and Potsy and all them. And I thought I need music. For the fight scene,
it was the fight music from Star Trek, right? When we when we did Three Musketeers and James was in charge of the music,
and he put the halo.
We started off. The first fight scene was between me and Anthony, which was also his first play. Yeah. And we had Duel of the Fates from Star Wars for the fight scene, and then. When Leah and Emily had their big battle at the end, that was the same battle from Episode 3 of Star Wars when Anakin and Obi-Wan are fighting. I love when we can pick our own music too.
And that's pretty good. That's what made it. And one guy in the audience, a dad, I heard him laughing so hard, and at the end of the play he goes, I think I was the only one that figured out that was from Star Trek. And I said, maybe. He goes, I thought that was brilliant. I couldn't stop laughing because I love that show, and to see them fight with that music. So to me, that's what makes plays like really, really cool. Like you said, you had now, I knew I was dated, and one of the last one we did was called The Lunchroom, which was our summer camp.
Oh, yeah.
And yes, I did change that play up.
Well, that's one of the ones where you can, because it's like, oh, how much are the royalty fees for this one? $35. No one's gonna care.
Or sometimes zero.
Sometimes
do the play, have fun. And I changed the YouTube. I'm not into YouTuber. I don't know the lingo, so I rewrote it the best I could.
Keaton, for reference, this play, it's called The Lunchroom. It's about high school cliques. It would be, you've got the one table set up for lunch, and then it would be rotating with the different cliques. You've got the jocks, the preps, the Barbies, and then
plastics.
The
weirdos.
Those were the plastics, or the nerds. Yeah,
the nerds.
Which are
nerds
also
will
the
never
weirdos.
change. There's always going to be nerds.
Creeps of nature.
And then we had the YouTubers, which was a new one that was added in for the thing, which is kind of like a mixture of like myself back in freshman year and Anthony Excel.
I feel like you would be
Jake
part of
Paul,
the creature
Logan
table.
Yeah, kind of. But Gina, when you rewrote that, didn't you have the kids help you rewrite that?
Caleb, what's Caleb's last name?
Caleb Schemmel, yeah.
Schemmel was saying, no, we should
And
do like,
and
he
Zane
added, and Zane, they
rewrite
added the language to it, because I tried to rewrite it based off the script and make it more fun, where they decided to do I don't even call it a podcast on the lunchroom food.
Yeah.
I did it again. That's Italian talking with your hands, all right? And if it wasn't for Zane and Caleb that basically said, no, they wouldn't say that.
Because Zane and Caleb, their characters' names were Jake and Logan. And I know most of the people listening at home are going to recognize, if we're talking about YouTubers, it's going to be Jake and Logan Paul, which you had never heard of either of those two people before, had you? No. I mean, they've made the news a couple times because they have made got arrested. But like,
yeah, because they're like, here's the number one,
they're idiots. They're essentially idiots.
So that's where I know I need
world-class idiots
on this
TV.
Stuff is,
well, and then you had the scene where two of them were talking, and you basically made one of them James and then one of them me, wasn't it? Because like you had Caleb being, it's like, oh yeah, it's like I just got done recording a new episode for my podcast.
Oh yeah.
And then you had for the preps, it's like, oh yeah, what's poppin'?
Oh yeah, we did that. Yeah,
did that
with James. So there's times where I'm getting up there, so. That's why, as you say, you like the history pieces, because I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
When I move into the modern times, I'm not going to be able to write it. I mean, Anthony sits in my office with Marco Office Supply, and thank God, because I'm on the computer going, what's wrong with this? And he just goes, click, there you go. And I'm like, oh. I mean, so did you show? Oh yeah, Bluetooth.
Oh yeah, I explained Bluetooth to you today.
I couldn't even. I said, "What is this thing? This triangle thing?" And you're like, "Oh."
And I'm like, "Do we need this for the sound?" I'm like, "No."
Can we use it?
I'm
I don't know.
No. Why would we? We have the actual speakers.
I'm like, it was a Christmas gift. I've never used it. I'm like, hey, I got this thing. Do you want to use it?
I'm like, no. It's like, well, because, and it's like, well, can we use it for music here? It's like Anthony, you're going to have to show me how to set it up. And I'm like, oh, well, it's really easy. It's like I don't know. It's
settings,
like all you got to do,
Bluetooth,
go into
connect.
Bluetooth, click connect, and then boom, you got it.
And I was like, wow, it's that easy. I just like.
Well, because they try and make it so that anyone can do it.
Well, you still got that old-fashioned thing going.
Don't feel bad, Gina. I can barely work a computer, and I'm supposed to be a person that.
All right, thank you.
In that time, or in this time, supposed to be working a computer.
I come from a lot of computer geniuses in a way, because my dad grew up on I remember my grandpa, he told me about, it's like, I remember when they would take up the whole room, and I was messing around with those. I had to, because of the airline company. And then my dad, he bought the first Mac, and he's been working with Adobe and Apple for past 30-40 years.
So this is
it's been in my family forever, so I know.
By the way,
technology.
when your dad takes pictures, don't put it in a Dropbox, because mine is full and I don't know how to clear it out.
All right, I'll put it in a Google Drive.
Because I don't even know what a Dropbox is.
Okay, we'll
I mean,
put
I'm like, Dropbox. What did I drop something? I don't know.
What's a Dropbox? Did I drop something?
Is that where I put a memo? Do I drop it in there like a memo?
Well, I mean, actually, yeah.
Yeah.
You
drop something in the box.
You drop the files in the box, and then someone else can take them out of the box.
Yeah.
And then put it
in
their folder.
It's like a computer mailbox, basically.
Yeah, essentially.
I mean, I know how to work inbox. I go in my inbox. There's a PDF.
Well, the only reason why we would ever send you anything to Dropbox other than your inbox is because it's too big for an email.
Yeah.
Because think about it like this. An email, that's a letter. That's a letter. You can stuff a couple pictures in there and then send it off.
Just send me an email and stuff.
If there's a bunch of pictures, like enough that would fill a box, you've got to put it in a box. You got to tape it up. You got to get it weighed. Go down to the post office, and then you could send it in the Dropbox. That's the
next time
difference.
you're up here, go look at that Dropbox. Because
Yeah.
I said it's disabled, and I'm like, I don't even use it. I'm gonna be disabled.
I'll clear it out.
I'm like,
Fill a Dropbox. That's a lot of
I mean,
stuff.
you know,
Well,
we
she's got the
were-
free one, so it's.
Okay.
Free one? I didn't even know you had to pay for it.
Oh, you can.
Oh, you
pay
can-
for it.
you can get extensions and
You can.
stuff.
You can get
More
like
space.
I'm afraid
terabytes.
to touch these things because I might find a bill for $1 million because I signed
Okay,
up for
well,
this or something.
so here's another way to explain it. The Dropbox that you've got right now is like a filing cabinet.
I know
full.
everybody's laughing right now, but that's okay.
Well, no, this is.
All right.
We're helping other people too who may
yeah.
have the same question.
Your age group is actually our second biggest age group that listens to the podcast.
Okay, so all you
so
people with Dropboxes.
so yeah, so think
up.
about it like this. What you have in your Dropbox right now, which is the free one, which I think it's got 15 gigabytes. That's
Whatever
about
that
this.
is.
That's not that
A
much.
filing cabinet. That's a filing cabinet
Yeah.
full. A terabyte.
That's a little overkill.
That
I know
would
what
be-
terracotta is.
Well,
I don't know what terabyte.
a terabyte would be that
Yeah,
entire
that'd be that
closet,
whole room.
that entire closet. Whatever you could fit in there.
Okay.
That's a terabyte. Plus also a
That's-
couple of, and
You know
plus
what?
a couple
We're running
of those
out of room
racks.
in our
Yeah.
terabyte.
Yeah.
by
Well,
the
we'd
way.
have to get an external hard drive.
Oh,
Yeah.
get it. Yeah.
I'm not going to
Yeah,
go into that.
yeah,
James can
yeah.
explain that to you.
Yeah, so I'm
done.
afraid to one time I joined LinkedIn and I upgraded
Oh,
and all of a sudden I get a bill for $1,000.
What?
How?
I'm like,
There's LinkedIn Premium? I didn't even know
don't-
that.
You know, I didn't know.
I
And
didn't even
was
know
like-
that.
I didn't know it until
would be
and You know what?
upset.
And then I
Why
scrolled
would you
down
even take LinkedIn Premium? I mean, what?
because in business
you know,
you're trying to.
I don't blame you. I don't understand LinkedIn. I don't understand LinkedIn, and I don't understand Twitter. Like, I got everything else.
I hate
everything.
Twitter.
I hate Twitter.
It sucks. It just sucks.
Well, I think this is a Johnny story. When Johnny was working for me up in the warehouse, he did what Anthony's doing. He did a lot of my postings.
Your
and stuff.
Facebooks
You're
and
right.
your Instagrams.
So
and
we were advertising for a sales job, so he put it on LinkedIn. If I tell you all the women that with their tongues sticking out, why do people stick out their tongues in photos? I never
Like,
I never
like-
got that. Like, why would you stick out your tongue? It's
I
not
think-
attractive.
I don't know. I
mean,
really don't know.
And
like
you
that.
know, one of those type of photos, and I was like,
Like,
look,
if you're on LinkedIn, you need a professional photo.
Yeah, you should have a professional photo.
one time,
should be
so-
like selfie.
Yeah.
Which,
Johnny-
if you guys
yeah.
need any professional photos taken, you could always go to Sullivan Photographics, which was our sponsor for episode 2. So,
And I used to
call
say,
Mike
what
Sullivan.
are these women thinking? Why would they send this to me? Are they, like, so Johnny's like, well, just ignore it. I was like, no, give me this. And I'd be like, what? And I'd be like, oh, I would have to, you know. And I was
And then
like,
the
you know
next
what?
week you see them with a lovely pantsuit on. Just
Yeah, and then I was like, fold down that account. And then I get the bill. And I was like, what? And Johnny was like, I don't think Phil's going to be too happy. I think we got a bill for $1,000. I was like, oh, yeah.
That's when you
so-
call PayPal.
Yeah.
That's why even on the computer here, something happens like the alarm. Boop, boop, boop. Go,
Every
faces your
time
compu-
Every time you make a purchase or something, does it freeze your computer?
Well, there's so many things.
It has like a
You know,
firewall now.
And so I'm kind of like I don't even want to touch a button. So thank God our IT people are.
Oh yeah,
right
you got
underneath.
Memo
So I
downstairs
just
where it's
go,
like, Memo, something
yeah,
happened.
Something happened. I don't want to touch the button. They're like, don't touch anything. We're running up there. So when Anthony's not
like,
here, I got to rely.
How
on
did you
them.
manage this?
It's just, but that's just me. That's why just writing fun shows is more me than.
Yeah. Did you meet Memo's dog? Memo's dog
Yes, I
downstairs?
saw the
s-
Lion King or whatever his name
Aslan.
is. Yeah.
From
the
the
little
Lion, the Witch, and the
thing. It
Wardrobe.
was so, oh man,
He's like this big.
it was a little
Well, we
fluffer.
tried a
when Daisy was
mascot
this
up here. It
big.
didn't work. We
Oh,
had
yeah.
Sandy, and Sandy hated everybody but me.
Yeah.
So that
Keaton,
was,
do you remember that?
There was a dog up here.
Yeah, we tried getting a rescue dog. Well, Gina tried getting a rescue dog. She was going to be the
make it the mascot.
The mascot.
You know, be
But Sandy
Sandy.
hated
No.
everyone.
No, you're
but
kidding.
Gina.
everyone.
Like hated like
Where's the dog now?
I had to return her, but
she
thank
got
God
adopted.
she got adopted.
She got adopted by a
Okay.
hermit who lived by
Well,
themselves.
I said this
All right,
dog
good.
is for a single person. It's not for my lifestyle. It's not for
well, they
a family.
advertised it as a family dog.
Yeah.
Would the
family.
dog hate like everyone?
It
Well,
hated everyone.
Bridget and Gina went
kind
to
of
go get
dog
the
was
dog
it?
together. It was a mix. It was a mix.
Pretty dog.
It was
sweet
it was
dog.
like probably like whatever Ellie is mixed with like
She's a min pin and a beagle.
Oh, okay.
But you know what?
It's called a
I
meagle.
mean, if I was by myself in my house by myself, that dog is with me because nobody would have come near me with that dog.
Well, because both Gina and Bridget went to go get the dog together, and it loved Bridget at first, and then hold Sandy up here.
Yeah. When the whole COVID thing started, so the dog was going to work with me. And then when Bridget came in and it growled at Bridget, I was like, oh my gosh.
Well, because the first time I came in, it was just...
That'd have been awesome, though, to have like a dog around.
A guard dog, yeah. Well, and then it wasn't like one of the last straws. He tried to bite Phil.
Oh yeah, that was it.
That's kind of like the biggest straw.
Poor Brielle. Brielle at night was afraid to use the bathroom because the dog used to hang out, and she used to be like, to try to get by the dog. I was like, okay, it's got to go.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was.
Well, it was a poor dog. The dog was probably abused at some point, so it wasn't. Yeah. Could only be attached to one person at a time.
Oh no, I cried my eyes out giving them because really I love that dog. That dog was great, but just me and her, But
she's got a really good home now, which is the good thing.
Yeah.
She's with a single person, and they saw the article, they adopted her. So whoever you are out there, thank you so much for taking Sandy because she is a great dog.
Yeah.
Just doesn't like to share her owner. All right? So
well, let's see. We are just about out of time here. Gina, do you have any closing arguments?
I always have arguments, but do I have any closing thoughts?
Your closing statement.
All right.
Like the show.
Really love to see people come out to the show. It does premiere this Thursday, 7 o'clock. We do have a free night for Marco Island Charter Middle School students. The first 50 at the door get in for free. Mm-hmm. So that's a special night. We can't give them out. We didn't give them out at the school because I don't want people taking them and not coming.
Not showing up.
That is our free night. And also we gave tickets to the teachers. And the thing with that, because I'm so grateful that they came to our rescue and just I heartfelt thank you for giving us a home and working with us. And then Friday, Saturday matinees are Friday's 7
nighttime.
And then matinees on Saturday, Sunday. The show is at 2 o'clock. Don't worry, we are sanitizing I'm going to say the theater, the auditorium every night.
I mean, we actually do more than what the churches around here are doing.
Oh yeah.
Well, because I mean, I've gone to multiple churches since the pandemic sort of hit, and we're following more safety precautions. So if you go to church on Sunday, I mean, you're going to be just as safe, if not safer, in my opinion, going to the show.
Because I don't know.
So also we got a much bigger area.
Right. Yeah, and we're spraying. We have called the AM-15 air
AM-15. Yeah,
we have a 15-gallon tank, and we're going to be spraying down those chairs and those mats and restrooms. And of course, you got to wear your mask coming in. We will have spacing, but we're just asking. Come out. They've been working, the cast, Ryan, Keaton, and all the rest have been working so hard for 3 months. And the reason why they're working so hard is just to give this island some Christmas holiday magic. So we want people to leave 2020 with a smile on their face because, everybody's like, oh, can't wait for this year to be over. So we
got to end it with a bang.
Yeah, we want to end it with...
Well, I mean, because, it's... 2020 is kind of ending with a bang. We've got Christmas is going to be even more normal than we were thinking it was going to be because they started rolling out vaccine apparently.
Yeah.
So
we won't see it till the spring.
We'll see. But I mean, I think
it's on its way. It's on its way. It's getting delivered.
This year is looking like it's going to end better than it started.
So that's what we want. We want the joy of the holidays, the magic, the spirit of Christmas, and so. Come on out to the show. See these two wonderful actors that have. It's just, it's going to be worth your time. Tickets are $25. Students are $10, and we
can be purchased at the link in the description, or in person at Marco Off Supply, or at the door.
At the door. So lots of ways to get in. So get in, come in there, and it's rated. It's family. I'm going to say it's PG.
Yeah,
All right?
PG.
I would say
because
PG.
because Christmas Eve they're having drinks, but there there's no swear words or anything like that. So
Yeah.
yes, it is a family show. Nothing worse than watching Bart Simpson is
No-
worse.
nothing
worse
wor-
than watching what we're gonna do. So. It's a happy show, and we'd love to see you there.
Yeah.
And
So-
Keaton, Ryan, thank you so much
Absolutely.
for
Yes.
having me on your
Well,
podcast.
Gina, thank you so much
Yeah,
for coming
thank you
on.
so
As,
much.
as I said at the beginning, it's been a long anticipated day. Let's see. Guys, make sure that you follow Sisbarro Acting Studios on Facebook. And while you're there, you might as well also be following the Pickle Jar Podcast on
Yes.
Facebook, as well as Twitter if you feel like, hey, we don't really post on Twitter, but
And-
also Instagram.
If you show up to the show and you get a pamphlet, shouldn't there be?
Oh yeah! When you get your program, you'll see a little advertisement for the jar in there
Yes.
Yeah.
with QR code that leads to our link tree.
sponsors. The
Yeah,
jar
we're
is
one of the
our
sponsors.
So thank
Yeah,
you very
vice
much.
versa. We're spreading
Thank
the love
you so
here.
much for that.
So-
So is this the point where I put the cap
We're
back on
just
the-
about there. We're
right.
just about there. So,
You gotta cap the jar.
oh, okay, and there we go. The jar has been closed. So, ladies, gentlemen, other if you feel so inclined,
People all around.
people of all ages.
People all over the world.
Thank you so much for joining us. We hope that you join us for the show Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. Or we could also say and or. So either way, thank you for joining us. I've been Ryan Sullivan.
I've been Keaton and Ryan.
And I'm Gina Sisbarro.
Thank you.